Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Gaming with me, Tony Mo, and I'm quite excited to be here today to talk with you guys about Colony Reborn. That's right, it's been live for maybe just over an hour now. I've been playing quite a bit of the Colony 24/7 playlist. I've been playing with the R101, been messing around with all my gorgeous Colony Reborn cosmetic items. Of course, that was a big part of the update. They actually redid the store so we can buy bundles now. There's the Angel City bundle. We've got the Colony Reborn bundle, which is like 25 bucks. It's going to give you all of the cosmetic DLC, all of the camos, which work on all of your weapons, all of your Titans and their weapons. And of course, we have the 2 new Prime Titans. All that stuff is really grand, but what we really want to talk about today is the Colony Reborn map, the remake of Colony from Titanfall 1, and of course, the R101 rifle. So let's actually start with Colony. Now, it is very much Colony. It's the Colony map that we came to love and know in Titanfall 1, brought into the beautiful, beautiful world of Titanfall 2. Honestly, from a visual standpoint, this is a really, really nice map. The details, like there's fog on the outer layers of the map. It's just, you know, we're in the Titanfall 2 engine now. It's this upgraded version of the source engine from Titanfall 1. It looks so beautiful. It is a stunning environment to navigate. There are a lot of details on the interiors and the exteriors of all the buildings. It just feels like a whole new game playing Colony in Titanfall 2. I played Colony not too long ago in Titanfall 1, and to see it now in Titanfall 2, it's night and day. They did a really great job bringing it to life inside of Titanfall 2. I couldn't be more excited for it from a visual perspective. Let's talk gameplay, though. Here's the thing about Colony. Even in the first game, Colony to me was sort of the epitome of diversity in a map's design. And I think it makes even more sense to have Colony here in Titanfall 2. Because Titanfall 2, as it's been designed by Respawn, is a game that provides a lot of diversity, a lot of variety for its players. Like, how do you want to play Titanfall 2? Do you want to be really fast and mobile? Do you want to make use of the game's skill-based movement system? You can do that. You can airstrafe and slide hop to your heart's content. You can be as quick as you please. Are you someone who just likes to play on foot, who likes to wall run, maybe slide every now and then? You know, you stay mobile, you engage targets. You can do that too. Are you someone who likes to lock down positions using AWOL or even your cloak to kind of just engage targets from a more stationary perspective? You can do that too. I'm really tired of people trying to tell other people that there's a way you should play Titanfall 2. That's the silliest thing I've ever heard. Respawn designed a game. They gave us the tools. We're going to use those tools however we see fit. That means people abusing phase shift. That means people abusing the AWOL and the cloak. Just get over yourself and stop telling someone they should play the game the way you see fit. They'll play the game how they damn well please, and they'll play the game with the tools that were provided to them by Respawn. So, that being said, it's about player diversity and player choice, and Colony is a map that exemplifies that. We've basically got 3 tiers to Colony. The lower ground floor, which is the roads, which link their way through the small village, out into the outer edges of the map, which are much more open. These are obviously great areas for Titan versus Titan combat. As a pilot, you don't really want to get caught out there unless you're really quick and you can hop like a bunny back to safety. All of those roads inside of the village, they link to alleyways, tight corridors, and the interiors of all of these different buildings, all with their own levels, staircases, windows, and rooftops. Which brings us to the 3rd tier, the top tier of Colony, which is the rooftops themselves. They're complex. They have plenty of different angles on the rooftops themselves that can act as cover. They're loaded with, like, I don't know, air conditioning units, old trash. Like, there's so much stuff going on when it comes to the rooftops themselves. There's lots of interesting ways that you can use them for cover, to engage targets, to make, you know, angles and lines of sight while minimizing your exposure. So you can play the game in any one of these 3 layers, and depending on whether you're playing as a pilot or a Titan, you're obviously going to make different choices. But you can also then utilize those 3 layers to suit your personal playstyle. So maybe you're someone who just likes to get that height advantage, so you're constantly jumping onto rooftops, engaging targets, jumping back down. Maybe you're someone who's all over the place. I personally like to play very aggressively on Colony, so I'll make early breaks for big flanks. I'll then use the interiors to minimize exposure to engage targets that are most likely camping on the rooftops. Let me give you guys a quick pro tip. As much as you might be that type of player who likes to use the rooftops to their advantage, you really need to know when you should be on a rooftop, when you shouldn't be on a rooftop, and how frequently you should be moving rooftops. It's one thing to get on a rooftop and get 5 kills. I understand that happens a lot, so it can be very compelling to just camp those rooftops. But eventually, someone like myself or any other player is going to flank you, they're going to engage you, and they're going to kill you. So use a rooftop as an angle, firing angle, kill your target, and then relocate. Relocate, relocate, relocate. That's the best advice I can give you for Colony. This is a map with a extremely dense layout and geometry. Make use of that geometry. Move from interior to interior, from rooftop to interior, from the dirt roads back to the rooftop, and just, you know, get feisty. Move all over the place. Stay mobile. You don't have to be the fastest pilot at the side of the frontier to stay mobile. You can still run from building to building, shoot out of one window, relocate to another building, engage targets from a different window. There's so much cover on Colony, but it's really easy to forget that, especially if you're a very fast pilot. Colony is one of those maps in which you're going to want to just go full bore. You can get really fast on Colony because you've got nice flat surfaces and some really great open lines of sight and roads to just blast your way down. You can link wall run to slide hop. You can get really fast. But if there's like 2 or 3 guys on a rooftop just all angled out and you fly through the middle of them, they're just going to kill you. So I think it's important that you use your speed and mobility to move from one engagement location to the next. That's where you're going to see the most success. I mean, unless you're like God tier and you're so fast that people can't even shoot you, which doesn't really happen, in my opinion. You know, being fast isn't going to be everything on Colony, so keep that in mind. Trust me, I paid the price early on. My first couple matches of Colony, I thought I'd just be super fast and fly over the place, and then you remember there's rooftops everywhere. And the big thing about that rooftop layer on Colony is that it's like one big open playing field. Yeah, you can hide behind the rooftop in the occasional piece of cover, but if I'm on one side of the map on a rooftop, chances are I can probably see you on the other side of the map on top of said rooftop, unless you're really minimizing your exposure. So it's, you know, it's almost like an open field that is made of rooftops. So you want to keep that all in mind. Again, relocation, mobility, you know, going from one point to the other. Don't get complacent. That's really how you're going to see success here on Colony. Now that tower, I know everybody always thinks the tower is going to be like this endless camping point, but it's just not. It's a pretty exposed position. If you let a guy sit up there with like Devotion or Hemlock or G2 or any of the rifles for that matter, or even the SMGs, and he just hoses your team again and again, that's on you and your team. People like that should be hunted down, and the same can be said for pilot sentries. Pilot sentries are going to see like, you know, just a gift from hell on this map if you let them go unchecked. Don't just keep flying from rooftop to rooftop while there are 3 pilot sentries on the rooftop. Break out your fire stars, break out your damage dealing equipment for pilot sentries, and get rid of them quickly, and then go back to making use of the rooftop. So it's an interesting map. It has a lot of complexities. I think it's all going to be about how the players you are playing with and the people you're playing against decide to play. That's going to really alter, you know, sort of the flow of this map each and every time you play it. That's really how Angel City is, if you think about it too. Interestingly enough, also a Titanfall 1 map. Angel City is one of those maps that can go one way or the other depending on how the other team plays. So if they all camp out with G2s on the high points and your team does nothing about it, well, then you're going to get smashed. And I think the same thing could happen here in Colony, but those interiors do provide an additional layer of cover and concealment for engaging people like that, something we don't really have on Angel City. So Colony, probably my favorite map in Titanfall 2 right now. It's right next to Boomtown and right next to Dry Dock. Those 3 maps are like, yeah, for me. The other thing about Colony that we haven't talked about is Titan gameplay. So when it comes to the Titan side of Colony, it is once again a very diverse offering. We have all of those nice interior engagement zones within the village, which are great for like Scorch or even ion traps. You know, there's a lot of just picking off points there if you're playing Ronin. But then you have the big open field out to the other side of the map, you know, that's really just long ranges of sight. You can get in some interesting Titan fights out there where you really have to make use of your defensive abilities. It's a map that I really like for Titan gameplay, specifically LTS. I think this is maybe one of the best LTS maps in the game right now. You know, it just has a really good sense of scale. I think all in all, the complexities offered by the map design, they just provide a lot of different angles for attack, and there's a lot of strategy that can go into it, especially when you think about your Titan composition for your team. Like, okay, what do we want? You know, we definitely could use a North Star here. North Star can actually make use of the windows in the buildings, sort of as hidey holes. It's like you're a World War I sniper in the trenches, just hiding behind a whole building with your Titan, and then shooting through windows. Something really cool about that, and Colony is really the only map you can do that on. Fortunately, I actually hopped into a match of LTS completely by chance with Iniquity, and him and I went to town. And that probably made me enjoy Colony just a little bit more than I otherwise would have, considering that was my very first LTS match where him and I just went crazy with North Star and Ronin, and then I supported him with Legion and Ronin. So team comp really important in LTS, as it's always been, and there's a whole lot of value to making sure that you have a Titan for each and every situation provided by the Colony map itself. let's talk about the R101 rifle, because there's some interesting things that Respawn could potentially do moving forward when we look at the R101. As it turns out, it shares the exact same statistics and performance numbers as the R201. This is basically just a visual redesign. We're getting the rifle from Titanfall 1 in our hands in Titanfall 2, and I'm quite happy about that. I like the design of the R101 more than the R201, and it's a piece of nostalgia that I can actually carry into battle and kill people with, and that makes me very happy. Now, we also have that ACOG scope option. There is no iron sight on the R101. We're just going to get the ACOG, but we can also swap that out for the HCOG Ranger, the HCOG, and the threat scope. So we do have different scope options here, which is very nice. Here's the thing, though. Initially, I thought I wanted Respawn to change the statistics, change the performance of the R101. The more I thought about it, though, the more I realized that that was the last thing this game needs, and it's something I've been preaching against since day one. More content is not always the answer, and throwing more weapons and more Titans into the fray isn't going to make the game any easier to balance for Respawn. It's probably the last thing this game needs at this point, is to just throw more weapons with different statistics and different damage numbers into the fray. So an R101 that performed differently than the R201 would have probably just been a nightmare for the team at Respawn. They don't need that. We've already got 20% of the roster of weapons that isn't being used. The Volt is pretty much left for dead at this point. Let them focus on the weapons we have in game already and balancing those. And if their plan is to give us more cosmetic variants moving forward with maybe slightly different choices, maybe like a suppressor on one or a different scope like they've done with the R101, I would love that actually. I think that's the perfect answer for more content going forward, is to give us cosmetic weapon variants. So that way I can have my old school version of the R97. I have my old school version of the R201 with the R101 now. If they did that moving forward and they were like, hey, look at Hammond Robotics put out a new variant of this weapon, or this company put out a new variant of the car, and then they put it in the game as a free cosmetic variant with, again, maybe some additional modded changes, some different attachment changes to keep down, weapon balancing issues, I think that'd be really freaking cool, actually. I'm actually really warming up to that idea. Again, Respawn's going to do what they think best, but yeah, if that was their plan, yeah, hell yeah. I really like the idea of that. I'm all for cosmetics. I think that good gameplay is what keeps people playing. It's not progression systems. It's not an infinite stream of unlocks. Great gameplay is what keeps people playing. Good balance, weapon balance, game balance, that's really integral to the great gameplay aspect. So giving us more cosmetic items, that gives us the content, the unlocks that we want, but it doesn't affect that gameplay balance. So I'm completely on board for that. There you have it, ladies and gentlemen. I'm probably going to do a little bit of a video featuring the R101 just for fun. I've got some other video ideas this weekend, so keep an eye out for some more Colony Reborn content. I definitely want to talk a little bit more about the map. I want to feature some more elements of it. But right now, I think we should all just enjoy Colony 24/7. Obviously, enjoy the free trial if you got your friends playing with you. If you want to support Respawn as a developer, buy some of those cosmetic goodies. And remember what I said. Don't be complacent. Rooftops can be good, but don't spend too much time up there. Make use of this map's complexity, make use of its diversity, navigate from one piece of cover to the next, stay mobile, stay active, and you will do well on Colony. Also, don't let those pilot sentries go unchecked, ladies and gentlemen, and make sure you keep your tower nice and clean. No one should be up there ever. Not you, not the other team. Keep everybody dead and off the tower, and you'll have a great match of Colony. Thank you guys so much for watching. As always, remember to have fun, remember to play to challenge yourself, most importantly, remember to play smart.